All right, everyone, welcome to the show again. We are now joined by a friend of mine, a guy I have a lot of respect for. Coach Eddie Jackson joins the Vicktory Life Legacy Podcast to talk about his perspective as a coach on the high school and college level. Recently, we spent some time together hanging out on a Sunday, and we had a great conversation. I said to him, I said, Coach, I got to get you on my show, man, because I can't take notes fast enough. So we got to get it on the Vicktory Life Legacy series to talk about all the things that we've been talking about in regards to high school and college basketball. So, Coach Eddie, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's no problem, man. Thanks for jumping on, man. I'm really excited about getting you on, man. So, we were talking about a month ago. We were hanging out, family get together, man. We were just talking life, basketball, and you were hanging out with us, but then you had on your phone, you was watching the women's basketball game because we had some people in there want to watch the NFL, man. And then then I kept interrupting you because I was picking your brain about like recruiting and NIL and your thoughts on these guys and this player, and you were very honest and insightful, and I just was mesmerized by that. So I said I gotta get you on. But for those that know you from behind the scenes, they know the work you put in, man. You coached 16 or 15 years at AU, American University.
I think it was 16. They
16
all
years.
run together. Um,
Yeah, very impressive as an assistant coach. Let's before we dive into my Q&A, man, everything like that, just talk about like where you coach, your coaching career, and how you got into coaching.
Started out obviously I'm a mighty South Lakes High School alum. Played for legendary Wendell Byrd, coached under Wendell Byrd. Um, I was an AAU coach, the program called Nova United back in the day.
Wow.
And then, and obviously I was doing them simultaneously, high school and AAU at the same time. And then I got into college coaching. I think my first year was '06, '07, or '05, '06. And it's been a blur ever since then. Um, it doesn't slow down at all. You blink and you look up and you've been in the game for so long. So I can see how the older guys feel that have been doing it 20, 30 years. And it's kind of like, where did the time go?
No doubt. That's a long time, man. And the game has changed. Not the actual game on the court. Obviously, the game evolved, but the game has changed now where we have, so much is social media, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and marketing. And it is crazy, man. The branding. And we're going to talk a little bit about NIL a little later, but in your perspective, and this is a question I'm just curious. I didn't get a chance to ask you this few weeks ago, but is the game in good hands right now from all levels, high school, college, and pro?
Wow, that's a big opinion for me. Um, the game is the game, right? You love basketball, you love playing, you love getting guys better. You love seeing guys progress, as they get older. There's some things at different levels that I'm not a big fan of that I wish could change, that could help the game. This is probably a big topic you probably had on here before, but just a shot clock in high school is huge. Not having
No,
it.
no, no. Speak on it. We've never covered that. Now, Sherman
Oh,
Rivers speaks on that, but please, I'm so glad you said that. Please elaborate.
no, it's just it's and from all different perspectives. So college coach comes, we don't want to see guys just stall for 7 minutes and 30 seconds when they're playing a more superior team, right? We don't want that. I understand high schools try to do whatever they can do to win, but no one wants to come see that. And then as far as guys making a jump that are good enough from high school to college, that shot clock is a huge difference maker. You got to
Mm-hmm.
teach them decision making. You got to teach them how to cut harder, move faster, be more efficient while learning the new physicality of the game. And it's a completely different level. Um, but I would like to see it. Some states have it. Um, I would like to see it in this area as well.
Yeah. Now you play for a legendary coach, and you've coached South Lakes before you arrived at American. Just a reminder for everybody watching right now and listening, you're taking a break from coaching, focus on spending time with your family and just enjoying the fruits of your labor, which is a great thing. You've earned the right to do that. But just talk about some of your memories. South Lakes right now coming into this season, the season kicks off this coming week when this show is going to air. Your alma mater is one of the contenders to win Division Six, along with Patriot and a few other high schools. South Lakes, when I was growing up in the 757, we knew about South Lakes as my high school, Hampton High School. I was in middle school. They played, Hampton High played Grant Hill and Company 2 years in a row in the state semis. And I've never seen anybody like Grant Hill at that time and since, a 6'8" wing that could bring the ball up. So we were very familiar with South Lakes. But you coached there, played there. Talk about your time, some of the players you coached, your memories. Had to be a great time. I know it was a while ago, but just reflect on that time.
South Lakes is rich in tradition. Coach Desmond is doing an outstanding job right now. He's a fantastic coach. But back then in the 90s and the 80s, it was some different bump back then, man. I know Des has a has a really good team and has an outstanding player over there. That's kind of I don't want to say once in a lifetime player because we've had quite a few over there.
Yes,
but it's definitely a generational type talent with Jordan Scott over there. But like we grew up, Grant was 4 years ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up going to watch them, and we played in the basketball camps and all that stuff growing up. And then after Grant, it was Joey Byrd.
Yes.
Joey Byrd was another McDonald's American. He was a top 3 player in the country. Then it was Troy Allen. We had Mike Summy. We had so many guys. And then you had guys well after me, that went on to do outstanding things. So the tradition is very, very strong. Another thing, you probably don't have to touch on that. I'm not a big fan of the playoffs and the state playoffs in the state of Virginia. I'm definitely not a big fan. You play who you got to play on your schedule. I understand that. But it was different when we had to go down to 757 and state semis.
Well, you and I grew up in the AAA, AA, single A area. Right. And you're right, it was a gauntlet.
Because it was just different. And now they play the same teams in the region and the state championship. And we would always make it down to the state championship, but we could never, win the big one back then.
Yeah.
Now it's like you got a Northern Virginia champ every year since they made the changes. But it's different.
Is one thing I want to ask you about this in regards to that. Well, let's stay on that topic. I'm from the 757, and my guys get mad at me back home when I say this, but I've been living in Northern Virginia for 23 years now. And one thing I've seen in football and basketball, the two biggest, most popular sports, and as far as revenue and attendance and all of that, obviously you have baseball, gymnastics, and other sports that are just as successful and great. But football and basketball, we all know they usually get the most attention. I tell my guys back home, man, Fairfax, Prince William, Northern Virginia, even in 804, the Richmond area, the state in general has gotten better. You look at a team like Hayfield, our guy Carlos Poindexter has done a phenomenal job. They had won like 50-something straight games against public schools and private even. Went down and beat Woodside last year in the Princess Anne tip-off. Beat Patriot in the state championship the year before that, beat Battlefield. I mean, the state in general, Northern Virginia, you talk about South Lakes, the coach, the team that Desmond has, the talent now, would you agree, because you've been recruiting, I know you're not coaching right now, but you spent years recruiting. Don't you think, the DMV has always been known, but Northern Virginia right now, don't you think right now we are in a day and age where it's no longer the haves and the have-nots? You have programs and coaches throughout this region that are really, really good.
And the one thing I would say is back then, there was only South Lakes, Herndon, Hayfield, TC Williams, right? Yeah. Now, way more teams, way more programs that do an excellent job. Sherm does a great job. Obviously, Los has been outstanding. And there's other good coaches that just don't have the talent, but they're excellent, X and O guys. I don't want to start name dropping guys, but like there's a lot of guys that I like. Obviously, Doug Craig is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Another coach who doesn't get the attention I think he deserves for a long time is Kevin Roller. I don't know. Kevin might be at Madison. I'm not sure where he is now, but
I think
he's like,
so. I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I think so.
yeah, but like there's a lot of guys, Michael Harris, there's a lot of guys that are really good. So yeah, I think basketball in general is bigger now. More games, more AAU teams, more games. A lot of people are playing all year round, where before it was just just the best played, you know. So I think that's been able to enhance a lot of the different high school programs.
Let's talk about that. You said three letters that people either turn and smile at or frown at. You said the letters AAU, which again, during your time and my time, I tell my son Isaiah, who I said, man, it was so crazy because the only reason I created my AAU organization, because where we were, it was some daddy ball going on, and I wanted you to be coach. I didn't want you to be just playing teams, getting a false sense of how good you were. So I got him and Tay Barber and some really talented players together who I've known since they were 6. But I wasn't trying to do that. And I explained to him and other kids I talked to, I played for a few Bull Williams teams when it was just like maybe 4 teams in the entire state, and it was very hard. You couldn't go and get a 501c and create. I mean, it was just like, I remember guys getting cut. AAU, I've heard, and I can't wait to hear your answer on this. I've heard so much about you shouldn't play, or there was a story the Washington Post did. I saw it on Julian's page from Nova Hoops, Nova Legend, excuse me, where it was a kid that played in the Capital Hoops Summer League. He didn't play any AAU, and he got quite a few Power 5 offers. And then I've seen where kids have gotten better because of AAU. And then you see some mixed feelings. You have your takeovers, your loaded. I mean, is AAU beneficial, or is it just, it should be just with the teams that are really coached well, like the Nova Cavs and the shoe circuit teams? What are your thoughts on AAU? Because you've been around this game a long time, and you've seen the good and the bad and the ugly.
How much time we got?
We got time. We got time. Go ahead. We got time because I need to hear this. We didn't touch on. I told you, and it's not going to be everybody listening and watching. This is not going to be his last time on here, because I'm telling you right now, when I was talking to him, we got it in regards to conversation, and I was like, we got to get you on. So you're going to have another appearance as well. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts on that.
AAU, I come from that background, so I'm always going to vouch for it. Are there things that I don't like? Yes. Do I think guys play too many games? Yes. Do I think that the emphasis on winning has been taken away when you play so many games and you lose and you're going to keep playing 3, 4, 5 more games? Yeah, I think that's hurt AAU to a degree. I think that like for coaches, like you have to figure out why you're coaching it, right? Are you coaching it because you're trying to help kids get to the next level? Are you coaching it because you're trying to get a job and you want to coach at the next level? And I think another component of it is, are you coaching these kids thinking that you're going to help them get looks, but you don't plan events that college coaches go to? Then you got another component where guys they're making you pay a whole lot of money to be on the team. You know what I mean? And you're not playing in front of college coaches. Or some guys are playing down when they should be, playing up in their age group, or it's AAU is different. Obviously, right now you have like the shoe circuit teams, shoe circuit leagues that are the best leagues right now. You have some other leagues that are really, really good, or other, tournaments. The one thing I don't like about AAU right now is the shoe circuits. You know,
Please, oh, no, don't. Yeah, what
because
do you
what
mean
they
by
did
that?
is they took the opportunity for kids to play against the best um, all over the country. There used to be certain events that you was going to get Adidas teams to come down, the Nike teams were playing, some Reebok teams back then, you know, and now the shoe circuit teams, they run from that bump. They made their own little pie, and they play each other, and they don't want to lose, you know, um, and that's difficult to watch because you used to go down to Southern Jam Fest
Yes.
and everyone would play. Like there
Yeah.
was game circle, and you would pit teams against each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Bob Gibbons event back in North Carolina back in the day, and now you don't have that. You have them playing their teams, and some of those teams, all those teams are good teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It,
some of them don't deserve
yeah.
to be on those circuits.
No, it doesn't. No, no, you're speaking the truth. And again, I'm not saying it because you agree with my sentiments. I'm more so saying that I heard my son is a senior this year, but I remember when he was in middle school, even younger, I was paying attention to it, and I remember hearing about it, seeing guys, just, oh, we played this. It was like a gauntlet. You saw those matchups. I mean, even back in the day, I remember growing up in Hampton and Newport News and seeing Iverson and Tony Rutland and Ace Custis and those guys and Joe Smith playing against guys from Maryland, Richmond, DC. More so much shoe circuit teams, it was more so the organization. So you had your Boo Williams versus this team, but you got like compelling basketball, and you really saw guys going against each other where therefore the rankings seemed more justified. Where now I was actually surprised, but I'm glad you said that. Where I do feel like teams are running from bump. I've seen AAU coaches go up to tournament direct and say, "Nah, put us in this one." Where
Oh,
you would want to see that. I don't know why they're running. I don't get that. You know.
no, we've had events where uh, it took a while for us to build up our teams. We were one of the top three teams in DMV at that time, and it was behind Salt and it was Nike Blue Devils back then. Then
Oh
it was
yeah, yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you had a situation where we're scheduled to play because those are the teams that we need to play to
Mm-hmm.
try to get sponsorships or just try to get things. And next thing you know, it's a last minute change when we show up to the game and we're not playing one of them. We're playing somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And it was a reason. They didn't want to play that game in the second round. You know what I mean? They didn't want to play it. Or they wanted to get out of that pool. And it wasn't just them, but it happens all across the country. And I would like for it to go back to where you can play everybody.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you're the best team in the country, and you only playing Nike teams, or you only playing Adidas teams.
Yeah.
Like you can't tell me that. So
Interesting. That's just interesting. I don't know, man. Guys, I think Twitter and Instagram gives a false sense of bravado where these guys are talking about what they want and what they've done and who they put out, which is true when you talk about like talent, especially when you talk about DMV teams. But then what seems not to be true is the avoidance of compelling in competition, compelling basketball games and competitive. So it is what it is. But Coach, you have the distinct perspective. Very few guys, will coach high school as long as you did, then jump into the college ranks, and you were at a great school in American University for a long time. So you recruited the DMV and beyond. But you're right here in DC and Maryland, Northern Virginia's backyard, and you had a great run there. And I talked to you about recruiting, and you were giving me an honest assessment because again, as a parent, even though I've coached and I've been around the game a long time, you were saying, yeah, this kid is good, but at the same time, he doesn't commit to defense, or yeah, he averaged 25, but he never did this, this, and this. Talk about recruiting when you recruited and what you look for and what a lot of college coaches look for, including one thing you said to me recently, like, yeah, they may like this kid, but until they pull the transcripts, it's just talk. So just talk about the miss. I know we don't have enough time to go in a lot of it, but this is not going to be your last appearance on this show. But just recruiting, what you look for, the myths versus the facts, what's true and what's not true. Because I see a lot of kids posting stuff, and I'll talk to a couple of high school coaches. They be like, "Nah, Vic, it's not committable." Or I'll hear, "Yeah, the coach asked this organization, asked this coach to say he got an offer so they can drum up some interest from this school." I was like, "What?" They were like, "Vic, you didn't know? You ain't hip?" I'm like, I thought he was like, "Nah, that school don't want him." I'm like, "Man, it's a dirty game out here, bro." Just in your own words, just what your thoughts and your experiences.
There's a lot of layers to that one. Recruiting. There's some challenges now. And just taking a quick step back, just like you said, I've been on all three sides. I've been an AAU coach, I've been a high school coach, I've been a college coach. So when I stepped into college, I've already experienced a lot of different things of having players that were recruited, that were trying to get guys recruited, and then seeing how they interact with high school coaches. You know what I mean? Like I always had a good pulse on all of that stuff. And I just think now, one of the worst things about recruiting are the fake offers. I think it's not only is it disingenuous, I think it's just flat out, it's wrong. I think it's BS. But I think this is where the layers come in, right? So it's not only college coaches' faults. Okay, it's a problem. So yeah, a lot of coaches are lazy. They don't do their work. They follow Twitter. They see highlights. Oh, this is the kid I want to, recruit because I just saw a 30-second, highlight. Or they look on, I don't want to pub anybody, but like they look on maybe an app that shows who's recruiting which kid. You know what I mean? And we're in an era where everyone puts all their business on social media. So blessed to receive, right? Everyone's blessed to receive something, right? So then coaches watch that and they say, oh man, that team is in our league. We need to call, right? So you got that type of foolishness going on. And I think you also have the foolishness from the high school side where you can't move in silence no more. You know what I mean? Like
I do.
Public schools, they want to post. It's not just public schools. Public schools want to post who came in the gym to see them practice or to come see whatever player. Sometimes they take a little picture. You know what? Private school, WCAC, and the private schools, and it's not just in this area, but overall, they want to post how many coaches come in there. So-and-so was in the gym today. They came today. Maybe take a picture, maybe put their logo up. But they're doing it for a different reason. They're doing it because the rising 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders that they're trying to get to commit to that high school, they're pumping it to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
High school coaches is trying to get their kids out there. And then you got some AAU coaches that call in for favors and they say, hey man, can you just offer this kid? High school coaches have done it also. We're just trying to gain them some interest but they got smart because they know, hey, these college coaches aren't as smart as they used to be. They know if we get out that XYZ college came to the gym, probably half of that league is going to reach out in the next 48 hours. And that's going to garner interest for that player. You know what I'm saying? So like they're involved with playing the game, the cat and mouse game, as well. And it's just a big mess.
Well, Coach, don't you, just to kind of offer a little rebuttal to that, don't you need to promote? Because one thing, so my son, I can speak for this, he is a humble guy. He doesn't post on any of his accounts. He just retweets stuff. And he doesn't, and I only did it because I was just doing it from a dad's perspective, recording his workouts and things. He likes to move in silence, even though he's got a lot of personality and things like that. He doesn't talk as if he's God's gift to basketball. But I was told by guys, colleagues of yours, and peers and people like, hey man, you need to show something. You need to have a little mixtape. You need to have some highlights. So I did that, and it helped. But I guess my point is, don't public schools and private schools need to promote their school brand so people know, like, oh, last year I put out this many guys at the next level. I'm just more so, isn't that part of the game that we live in now?
No, yeah, I think they have to do it. It's just it's the part of, are you doing it for everybody? Or you
Mm,
or you're only doing it for your best player because you think he's a mid-major, high-major player? What about the kid
mm,
that's trying to go Division 3?
mm.
The kid that's getting some interest from D2? You know what I mean? Or are you
Yeah,
just out? Like what are you doing? What's the strategy behind it? And I think it's great that um, your parents do it, and coaches follow everybody. I mean, they spend a lot of time on their phones. I mean, it's crazy, but like, so they're going to see it, and then it gets retweeted by so and so. It gets retweeted by this podcast or by this guy, by this
yeah,
who thinks that they have an end only
yeah,
because they retweeted. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
um, so I would do it. Absolutely, do it. Get it out. But the biggest thing is just have it readily available. Full game film when a coach contacts you. Like, I've never seen a kid miss a free throw in a highlight. I've never seen a kid miss a dunk in a highlight. I never missed a kid make a turnover in a highlight. You know what I'm saying? They're always in the right position to get a steal in the highlight. What an outstanding block they had in the highlight. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yeah.
So, you want a college coach, you got to see full game film. We want to see what happens when you get blown by. Did you sink your head? Did you not run back on defense? What happened when you started 0 for 7 that game? Are you selfish? Were you passing the ball, trying to get other guys involved? Like, what do you, there's more to the game than what's in that highlight. The story's way bigger than that highlight.
You look at all that. You just said some stuff. You look at all that when you were recruiting. You looked at body language. You looked at not just the percentages. You looked at how they respond to losing and winning, and some of those attributes. You weren't really one of those guys that just was like, okay. Because you mentioned something I hear a lot from a lot of my guys that coach high school, head coaches and assistants, that some of these college coaches are lazy and it's a copycat league. And I was sad to hear that, but I see it in both football and basketball. But you're saying when you were recruiting, you did do the due diligence. I know personally, I saw you at Osborne. I saw you at Patriot. I saw you at games in Nova, public and private. And I know about that because you spend a lot of time recruiting. But I'm being honest, I don't know if everyone's doing that.
Nah, and like I want to say, like, to an extent, like, college coaching is hard. And it's very time consuming, and you can't be everywhere all the time. You want to be with your guys at practice. You're going to miss a lot of practice because you're on the road recruiting. You want to be with them on the bus going to the game. You may not get to do that. You may have to go see a game and meet the team at the game. You got the basketball part of college coaching is very small. I mean, it's 20% of the job. There's so many other things that go into it that takes your time away from just doing the basketball part. Like, that's the funnest part of it. But so to that aspect, coaches are trying to find ways to try to be more efficient, but a lot of times they just don't have the time to do their due diligence, and that's me making an excuse for them right now.
It's okay.
Because
You speak.
because the
I can't
goal
speak on it.
the goal is not to miss. When you recruit a
Mhm.
kid, to go, and everyone's going to miss eventually, but you want to try to. If you bring in 2 kids in a class, you want 50% of that class to be, good players. Because anytime you miss on a couple or in a big class, that can set your program back years.
It does. I've seen that. I've seen that. Just a few more questions because we up against it. Like I said, I'm going to have you back on. But I've been told just dealing with this with my son and some kids I've coached in AAU and kids I know, just talking to their parents, even 23s and 22s. I hear this phrase all the time. Yeah, man, the portal's killing them. Portal, man, the portal. We like such and such. Portal, man. Oh, you know what? We're gonna circle back if these kids that we're recruiting in the portal don't come. Football and basketball. I was in favor of the portal because I felt that going back, I hate being back in my day, but like, yo, for real, back in my day, there were a lot of youngins and teammates and friends of mine that had to sit out or were kind of stuck at a school. And the NCAA, to all their faults, has gotten better with some of the things you can do when you appeal and the resources compared to back in the 90s and early 2000s. But at the same time, COVID, the extra year in the portal, has really changed the landscape of high school and college basketball. JMU just upset Michigan State early this year, and they talked about the players they took in the portal. So I've seen it also destroy some teams where chemistry was off and players they thought were really good were not what they thought they were. Where to your point, which is a very valid one, it set the program back. Um, your thoughts on the portal, man? It's just that simple. Good,
Uh,
bad, and different. What are your thoughts, man?
I think for student athletes that are in a um, tough situation where they know they're not going to play. You can compete all you want. You can do everything right. And I'm just not good enough for the level that I went to. If you want to play basketball, I think the portal is great for you.
Mm.
I think it's great. Um, if you're at a situation where you're unhappy and you're not working hard, and the kid that you were brought in to play in front of him is kicking in your butt, and you pouting and you want to leave because of that. I mean, I got issues with that. But from a coaching perspective, if that happens and the kid tell you he wants to leave, you don't want your players to leave. Like, it's not a good look when everybody tries to leave.
Yeah.
But, if you notice, man, we messed up on this one. And he comes to you and says, hey, coach, thinking about hitting the portal. Some guys you want to talk to try to talk them out of it. Other guys are like, hey, man, best of luck. No problem. Any help? Let us know how we can help you. Like, you want those meetings to happen if you know that, well, we messed up on this kid. He's not good enough.
Yeah.
This is the last year for the COVID extra year, meaning that these seniors can come back one more year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then after that, you won't get that extra COVID year back.
So coach, say this was a panel and you were with other coaches and I was going to ask you this question, but since it's just you, I'll ask you because you get different feedback. I'm not even just talking about myself. I'm talking about when I'm listening to other podcasts and when I talk to people that are in the business you were in for 20 plus years. Prep, JUCO, with all this stuff now with extra years and COVID, some guys are D1, D2 guys, but number of scholarship restraints, different things, coaching changes. I've seen a lot of kids kind of caught in that gray area where, like when I got cut from the Ravens, Ozzie Newsome said, hey, we like you a lot. We don't have the numbers. We don't have the space. We'll bring you back for the practice squad if possible. So numbers are always an issue, especially in a sport like basketball. Is prepping good or bad? Was it case by case? Is JUCO and prepping because I'm regardless of what we say in this show, I'm learning. I'm always looking to learn just for the sake because I love the game. But girls and boys, high school basketball players, what are your thoughts on prepping or going to JUCO? Because I've seen mixed results. I've seen some kids who were overlooked in a district or a region because it was a combination of size, they had a growth spurt, or they was ravaged by injuries, and all of a sudden they get to the right prep, and it's like, wow, this guy's boom, boom, boom. And then some guys still get the same offer they would have got if they had just gone out of high school.
Right.
Is it just a mixed bag? What are your thoughts on prepping and JUCO?
Yeah, I think it's a case by case basis. I'm a huge advocate of JUCO ball and of going to pro school. I'm a huge advocate of kids that want to continue to play beyond high school. Where it becomes a catch-22 is, you're not going to get much better. You can improve, you can get stronger, you can help your grades, right? But like, if you are a 5'7" point guard, you going to prep school is not going to help you get a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So there's a lot of that goes on. And some of these prep schools give money. Some of them give 80. A lot of them are full payers. A lot of these kids are full pairs to go to some of these, prep school leagues. And then I think the difference also, where are you trying to go? Are you trying to go to some startup school that says they're a prep school because they're going to play 44 games and play the same team 18 times? This is real stuff.
No, this is real, especially after watching that Bishop Sycamore documentary.
I think kids that want to try to play beyond high school, they don't have anything. Obviously, keep working on your game. If you can hoop, people are going to find you. If you have a chance, you're on somebody's radar already. Sometimes it's not the right fit. It's not that you're not good enough. It's not the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes style of play not the right fit. Sometimes it's, hey, we don't have your major. We would love to take it. You want to be engineering. We don't have engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a good fit. Sometimes the coach doesn't like tough physical guys. He may want more skilled guys. So it's not that you can't come in and do work. You just might not fit how he wants to play. I mean, there's been kids that I was like, man, I really want to recruit you. It's just not going to work. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I can help you call whoever, but it's just not going to work for us because this is what Coach so-and-so, really loves. And so I tell kids, so the portal, every coach wants to get older and stronger and faster. So that's what a big part of it is. The mid-major and low-major level, even like some D2s, what that does is you're going to get a chance at a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be waiting for something else. So you still recruit them. And then what's going to happen is you may mess around and get them. Now, it's up to that school to keep them if they come in and do work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity for those guys to get, a better player potentially.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I saw a few D2s upset some D1s here in October when college basketball started. I was like, and I said, that's got to be a result of what you're describing right now. It's interesting. And I was getting ready to let you go, but I got to ask this question. This popped in my head as you was talking. I know you're not coaching now, so I don't know what you can share, but have you ever been when you were coaching an American in your staff meeting like, yo, damn, I told you we should have offered him? Or like, man, I slept on dude. I don't know. I mean, because y'all are human. I mean, it's not an exact science. Have you ever been in that situation where you were the I told you so, or you were like, man, I slept on dude, or like, I didn't know, but it seems like he's gotten better, or I told you he was too slow to defend. I mean, I don't know. I mean, has that come up?
Absolutely. And it's all over the country. There's going to be a situation where, I mean, I don't want to say names.
It's okay.
There was a few kids, to say Northern Virginia kids, that you really wanted to take, who was good enough. He may have just been a small two guard instead of a point guard. And you don't take him. And then he ends up going way higher, playing overseas now, making a lot of money. Maybe another kid that was too skinny to play. Very skilled. And then he goes to a D2 school that's transitioning into Division I, and he cooks. You know what I mean? It may be because you have these meetings and you say, I like this guy, I don't like this guy. No. And then sometimes those kids don't perform when you send somebody to go see them.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
So you got like that aspect of it. It's like he can score 30 when I go see him. He may only score 4 when the boss goes see him or your coworker goes to see him.
Yeah.
But that happens a lot. Not a, I won't say a whole lot. I got a pretty good track record of getting who I go after.
I was going to say for the record, about to say, but for the record, you were a hell of a recruiter, right? And a coach.
I like to think I did a good job.
You can be honest. You can be confident.
Damn right. I did an excellent job.
That's what I thought. That's what I knew.
Nah,
okay. Yeah. No.
There's different things to it, though.
Yeah.
It's being efficient. And there's a difference between evaluating and recruiting. A lot of guys recruit. You make a phone call, you think you recruiting somebody. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of kids want to talk about who they recruited. I'm about who you get, because that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
well, yeah, no, I mean, good, no. And one thing you said to me when we were hanging out and just chopping it up, man, you were like, we were just talking about a list of juniors and seniors in the DMV, and you were like, oh yeah, I would say he's a dog. You're like, oh yeah, he's elite, he's special. The kid Nate, that's at Highland. We're talking about like, I mean, you're 6'9", you can shoot over people, you can handle the ball. But then we were naming other kids, and you were like, well, that he's all right. And I'm like, really? You're like, I mean, he averages this, but he don't defend. He takes plays off. He doesn't have a motor. And it was like we were chilling, but you went right into coach mode. And I was like, wow, that's so true, because I think social media being the gift and the curse, to your point about highlights, it's like fool's gold, because you see it and you're thinking, man, this guy is a bucket. But then when you see him against stiff competition or against other elite kids, he shrinks. And you gave some honest assessments. That's when I started to really realize, the truth isn't when a college coach really knows what he's talking about, because you were giving some honest, unbiased assessments of kids. And I valued that and I appreciate that. Really, really good. And you were conscious of the fact that we were hanging out, so you weren't going to name too many names, but it was cool because I thought you were really real in your assessments. I hope we can continue to have these conversations, man. I'm going to get you back on, Coach Eddie, even though you're not coaching, because I think more people need to hear this. And this is great for me in the basketball series that I'm doing. So we'll get you on. We're going to do your legacy spotlight. We're going to talk about your game as well. Like, did you defend? Were you a bucket? Were you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely didn't defend. No chance.
We're gonna talk about your career. We're gonna dive. The whole show gonna be you. We're gonna dive into your game.
I don't even remember that far back.
Well, you got time. I'm gonna give you about 4 more weeks. After the holidays, we're gonna get you on. Though I gotta get you a hoodie in the mail. I still have it in my box. But Coach Eddie Jackson, this has been great. I thank you for jumping on, man. I know you're busy. I'm busy, but I'm glad we were able to make this work, man. Your insight was very respectable and insightful overall. But I'm going to get you on again, and I thank you for jumping on for the Legacy Spotlight series we're doing.
Fantastic, man. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the next time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.